Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Intuitive Angling, and really appreciate you guys joining me for today's episode. And guys, I want to talk to y'all about what's going on down here at Table Rock Lake the last 2 or 3 weeks that everybody should be concerned about. There's something that is going on with this lake that really concerns me a lot. Going to talk about it in today's video, and I know that a lot of you guys can relate to this because what I'm going to talk about is probably happening on some other lakes that you guys fish as well. So we're going to get into that in today's video. Also, guys, quick invitation. I'd like to invite everybody to please consider hitting that subscribe button here at Intuitive Angling. Free and easy to do, though. Free and easy to do would be much appreciated. And if you guys would like to go to the next level on Intuitive Angling, you can become a channel member. Channel members get private videos every week that aren't seen by the public and some access to my email address for your fishing questions. So I'll put that link in the description, or you can go to my homepage. Just hit the join button for information. So appreciate that. Okay, guys, this is what's going on. You guys have heard me talk a lot about Table Rock Lake over the past couple of years about how the quality of the fishing has deteriorated here tremendously, because I've been fishing the lake since the late 1960s. But guys, I want to reiterate something is seriously wrong with this lake over the past 2 or 3 years, specifically since when LiveScope really started dominating down here. Now, here's what's going on. The last 2 or 3 weeks, I've been down here a ton fishing. I've been fishing down here a bunch. The water's been coming up for 2 or 3 weeks into the bushes, into the flooded bushes. Now, what is the deal? What the deal is this is pretty normal this time of year. The water gets high in May and June sometimes, more than not. It's like every year this time of year, we usually always have anywhere between 2 to 4 weeks where you've got water in the flooded bushes like we do here now on the lake. Now, ever since I've been fishing the lake out of a boat, which has been from the 1970s, guys, I'll tell you something about this. In the 1970s, every single year, this time of year, I could go out and catch a bunch of fish flipping in the same type of areas of the lake, same areas. In the 1980s, I could go back to those same areas. And when I'm talking about same areas, I'm not talking about like a spot. I'm talking about 4 or 5 different major creek arms. I could do it in the 70s, I could do it in the 80s, I could do it in the 90s, I could do it in the 2000s, I could do it in the 2010s. But ever since we've hit like 2020, 2021, these fish aren't there anymore, guys. There has been 5 generations of bass that I have caught out of these same areas for almost 50 years. And then all of a sudden, the last 2 or 3 years, these fish are gone. They're not here anymore. They're absolutely not. Now, I'm not saying you can't catch a few. You can go out and catch a few, flipping and pitching the flooded cover, but it is nothing. It's not even in the same universe about how reliable and good it was for the past 5 decades in terms of the numbers of bites that you get and the size of the bites. What I have seen happen over the last 2 or 3 years, every single, May or June when the water comes up, the size of the fish have shrunk down to next to nothing that you catch flipping, and the numbers of bites you get have dwindled down to far below what you used to get. On an average, for the last 40 years, on the average flipping type day that you'd go out, I'd get 20 to 50 bites a day flipping, and you'd catch 14 to 20 pounds almost every time. The last 3 years, guys, it has been nothing. It's been, if you get a bite, it's usually a keeper, maybe a little bit bigger than a keeper, or a non-keeper. A lot of times they're non-keepers, and the number of bites have dwindled as a result. Now, this has nothing to do with the fact I'm not keeping up with the times. I'm fishing out of memories. I'm fishing out of the past. I don't know what I'm doing. Guys, these fish have been in the same areas for 5 generations. In the 70s and 80s, I caught them flipping a black jig and pork frog. In the 90s and 2000s, I'd catch them on worms and creature baits and tubes. It's like I've adjusted the techniques, but the thing about it, the bass are simply not there. They're gone. Now, here is what's happening here, in my opinion. Number one, you can't deny the reality that all of a sudden LiveScope has started dominating everything about fishing the last 2 or 3 years, and then there's a direct correlation to the deterioration in the fishing on Table Rock Lake and on your lake too. All you dudes out there that are non-live scopers, you know what I'm talking about. The last 3 or 4 years, your fishing has went downhill. And there's always going to be guys say, Randy, you don't know what you're talking about. I went out yesterday and ripped them. Yeah, whatever, you know, that's not the point what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the consistency day in and day out. So you got that element of forward facing sonar. And then another thing that you have is, guys, I am more convinced than I've ever been that there are fewer people today that are practicing catch and release than ever before. There are a ton of people that keep and eat bass, a ton of them. And a lot of them, like at Table Rock Lake here, guys, they go out at night and they catch their limits or more or over their limit every time they go out, because it's easy to catch them at night here because they move up shallow. They just catch them on spinner baits and stuff. Clearwater, Ozark Lake, most those fish don't get thrown back, guys. They get eaten. And even the daytime fishing guys, with the guys that are using, spotlighting for bass, they go out and they spend, $70,000 on a bass boat. They spend $300 to drive down with gas and all that type of stuff. And they're not going to throw those bass back. They're going to say, if I have to spend all this money, I'm going to bring something home to eat. And that's what's happening. You've got more fishermen than ever fishing that are better than ever, and they're keeping the bass. And then there's a ton of bass that are dying from delayed mortality, from barotrauma issues, from forward-facing sonar. And the thing that really pisses me off, the conservation departments are clueless about this. They just ignore the reality of the situation. They bury their head in the sands. They do their little samples and they say the lake's healthy. Bullshit, guys. This lake is not healthy. You can take some fisheries biologist that just got his fisheries biology degree and he's been doing this for 5 or 6 years, and then put him up against somebody like myself that's been fishing this lake for 50 years and can tell you, the reality of the world. There's no correlation between the two whatsoever. This lake is hurting. This lake is in trouble. And the only way that you can see that is by eliminating technology. If all these tournament anglers that catch the decent weights down here at Table Rock were relegated to using nothing but two-dimensional sonar, so they had to fish traditional bass fishing techniques, you would see how terrible the weights are here. But I've always talked about it. Forward-facing sonar creates this illusion that bass fishing is better because they're tapping into a population of bass that have never been tapped into before, and are gradually getting more pressured, and are gradually getting weeded out, and are gradually dying from barotrauma issues. So until we start doing some stuff like hiring more conservation department officers to keep a closer eye on these people that are keeping and killing bass, until we start reducing the number of tournaments that are killing these fish from delayed mortality, until we start stopping tournament fishing and stopping fishing in general for the period when the fish are spawning, let them have a 2 or 3 week period to spawn, leave them alone. And till we start acknowledging the reality of the situation, it's going to continue to go down. But guys, I can tell you from somebody that loves this lake, man, this is where my passion started here on Table Rock, and I have fished it probably more than 99.9% of the people watching this video or that fish the lake now. Something's the matter with it, and you can deny the reality of it if you want at your own peril, but something needs to be done about it. And I know the same is true for your guys' lake too. So sound off, guys. Let me know what you think about it. We'll talk later.